Hi, I'm Jameson Newlander, Alan Frog from the Lost Boys, and you're watching the Frog Brothers podcast.
Let me get 'em!
It's refreshment time, folks.
I'm just gonna go watch a movie.
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. Don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only
Finish him. I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
It's a Laserdisc.
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and Weather Channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Hello, and welcome to episode 73 of the Frog Brothers podcast. I am your trash human host, Justin. With me, my esteemed colleague, human philanthropist, brother extraordinaire, Mr. Alec West, and our producer, Nick. Welcome, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
I'm just realizing now, just looking at the camera down there, that I don't have much of any eyebrows, and our father has no eyebrows. So I wonder if, I'm just losing them entirely.
That's
It's better than having overly huge eyebrows, but it's you start to look weird.
You can paint them on. A little makeup.
That's true.
Yours are way better than mine. You barely see mine in there. So, we've all got things. Never said I was a handsome man.
We've all got our little secrets.
Born with a face for radio.
That's where I show you my balls.
The bubble gum? Did you step in some bubble gum? Got some hair in it.
What the fuck are you? That's wrong as fuck. I was referencing Scary Movie, the first Scary Movie where the gym coach's balls fall out.
Yeah, that's pretty
gym coach.
So this week was a little bit mild with news compared to some other weeks. Last week was just so big with everything else going on.
Oh, it's so big.
This week's a little less exciting. But if you are in the market for Ghostbusters merchandise, I ordered the
merchandising.
$15 proton wands for my kids tonight, and I ordered the Ghostbusters Clue game from Amazon. So excited to see those arrive. It's a difficult time for me to be a collector because I've got a lot of stuff ordered, a lot of stuff being delivered, but I'm also moving next week. So it's a whole lot of packing and trying to remember where shit's at. So I feel like in a few weeks, I'm gonna be like, where the fuck did I put everything at? So I'm gonna have to try to label stuff as I pack. So
yeah, that's usually what helps when you pack and move and you write on the box, this is what's in the box.
Yeah,
that's pretty standard, Justin.
I had to pack those VHS tapes extra secure.
He's talking like he had
the what's in the box sound clip.
No.
Hey, speaking of what's in the box, though, I did get a nice collection of Ghostbuster stuff that we'll do an opening video on pretty soon. Some of the stuff's pretty dirty, but I will do an unboxing video and then I'll clean them up and show you how everything turns out.
We'll do a before and after.
Yeah, the before and after.
And then we'll show you in the tub with them cleaning them.
Oh, man. Get some bubble bath going. You can see my beer belly. You can debate whether or not you can nurse from me.
I wish I had some Meet the Parents sound clips.
If you have enough.
I have Greg, could you milk me?
Some of what you are about to see and hear is explicit.
New little sound clip for you.
That should be put into the intro song.
Right.
I mean, that's basically your warning. We've got a pretty action-packed episode ahead of us. We're going to talk a little bit about the new movie, The Suicide Squad. We're going to talk about Batman.
We're not talking about that today.
That's a different
episode.
Oh, shit. That is a different episode, isn't it?
You're going to have to edit this out.
We're recording it tonight, so he's getting confused.
Oh,
we are talking
magic. Ruining the behind the scenes magic.
They like the little teases of the behind the scenes, which, by the way, soon we'll be launching a Patreon. But it'll be a very cheap option and a also pretty cheap option. there'll be 2 tiers. We'll be launching that probably next month, I want to say.
I realize you may want to see people's butts and boobs and things like that. So we don't want to be at too crazy high of a price point. We want to be a good value so you can support us.
And we will also show you our boobs, butts, and buttholes.
Well, that's just a freebie. We do that anyway.
Behind the scenes.
Actually, if you're not nice, we're going to make you pay to not see that stuff all the time. That's actually what's going to happen.
No.
You got to pay to unsubscribe.
That's like the top level tier is you can just get my personal Snapchat, you know, like
Snap for life.
Right. And then all I do is get on that Snapchat and jerk off. like that's what a lot of women do with Snapchat. So I'm just taking it another way.
Yeah. So we're talking.
You're about to see and hear is explicit.
We're talking about one of the greatest Batman movies ever made, Batman 1966 tonight, also known as Batman the movie.
Yeah, that's what we're talking. It even says WAP on the back, which is kind of like, does that mean like the same thing as FAP? Because that's how I take it.
It's a precursor.
And oof, it says, which is a big thing people say these days on the interwebs.
And we're going to pitch your own Batman movie.
Yeah.
So it's going to be amazing.
Who gives a fucking shit?
We're going to talk some Twin Peaks. But as far as news goes, get online, order a shirt, order a sticker. We're trying to support Children's Mercy Hospital locally. So thanks to everyone who's already picked up some of the goodies. We'll have some shirts available to show you off how they look and everything like that here pretty quick.
Have to do that.
And it's pretty awesome. We've got people supporting us with stickers. So I got another order today. So I appreciate that. Keep it up. And
good.
Really, we've got a lot of cool stuff coming up. But we're just going to jump into it. So,
well, actually, what we're going to do first is talk about the new fucking toys I bought this week. Thanks for asking.
Oh, fuck yeah. What'd you buy?
Well, Nick bought these for me and I sent him the money because he found them where?
3 hours away.
It looks like he's looking at my dick, doesn't it? But he's looking at my Frankenstein's monster.
Frankenweenie.
Well,
NECA.
He's got a little glare there. Yeah, there you go. Angle it down. Yeah, that looks good right there. I can see him. Yeah.
Sweet. I love the box art. I'm eager to collect the NECA Universal Monsters line. They've announced at least a Wolfman. So
Dracula.
I don't think they've announced Dracula,
Mummy.
but I can't wait for same.
Oh, they did announce a Dracula movie, the Renfield movie. They announced some casting for that, which is kind of one of Dracula's henchmen. So speaking
called Renfield.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Oh, interesting. That's the guy who steals the fucking show next to Bela Lugosi, his character in the original Dracula.
Yep, and Universal has big plans for monsters. They also have a Little Golden Books version coming out, talking about the.
Is this the one that's going to follow the Tom Cruise movie?
No, that they abandoned that concept.
It's part of the Dark Universe.
The Invisible Man was that Blumhouse kind of starting over, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to continue that at all either. Or be committed, so.
I don't think they're going to do a shared universe. I think they're just going to get back into making some of these classic horror movies and just kind of going with some modern takes on them, which is perfectly fine by me. I don't need all that shit to wrap up. And
I would like to see it all wrap up because I don't know, like there's some good generations of it, and I'm only recently starting to get into some of the Hammer films. I'm going to start buying some of those so we can cover some Hammer Dracula and see Christopher Lee as fucking Dracula. Peter Cushing as
Grand Marf talking.
No, but he's in
Grand Marf.
Who does he fucking play? God, I just instantly forgot. But he's also in like some of the Hammer horror remake stuff. But I also picked up the Quint Jaws from NECA.
That is
excellent figure.
That is the only one I've seen.
Go ahead and enjoy.
I haven't processed it yet, so I don't have it.
They've announced at least Bruce. They showed off a shark model of him, and it's fucking big. And then they did.
I will get that.
They showed off they're working on a Hooper. So I can't wait for that. But
got a few things in the works, so it's going to be awesome when they actually get these released and out.
They canceled the Roy Scheider figure, but like,
you should get another one and cut it in half so you can stick it in Bruce.
Well, I think you might be able to stick this one in Bruce.
Yeah, if he doesn't go all the way down. Yeah,
I want to. I love he comes with the crushed beer cans and shit. The Nagansat beer or whatever it's called. That's what it's spelled. Machete, the baseball bat, shotgun or rifle, I don't fucking know, and a shotgun, 2 guns, and a massive, massive cock.
That's hidden underneath the slacks, though.
Yeah, but you can see by the outline. They like sculpted it and everything.
You're gonna stuff his fake
No, I'm
pants.
just kidding. But that'd be pretty cool.
What else did you get?
That's about it. That's all I have. But check out our PKE meter review. We just did that. I'm gonna be opening this bad boy, doing a review of that demonstration this week. So keep your eyes open.
Yeah, the PK meter is pretty awesome. Excited for that. And we got a comment on there today. It said, like, if you kind of shake it or move it around a little bit, it'll do some additional sound. So
we have a Six Sad Worlds today later on for some of the comments that we have on our YouTube, and it's hilarious.
yes, there's some amazing stuff. And don't forget, we do have our Toy Defender design coming soon. So you can, if you're like us and you're not a fucking complete wanker about life and your existence, then you can be a Toy Defender.
Are you gonna have a costume,
Right?
for Planet?
No, not for Planet. But I guess we're gonna go right into
You know what I just watched? Me pulling a can of some moron's fist.
Return of the Jedi. Did you see Alien when that creature was in that guy's stomach?
You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony.
Welcome to Retro Release Reviews.
Woo!
Yeehaw. Batman 66, Batman the movie. This is great. I used to watch this as a kid, even before Batman 89 came out. I remember seeing this movie really young age and like renting it after seeing the Batman series, like reruns on TV as a kid.
I feel like it was on TV a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah, it was.
TV show and the movie.
Yeah. This is one of the first when I was this is probably one of the first value bin DVDs I remember buying at Walmart for like $5. And I didn't have cable for the longest time after I moved out. And so this is one of the first DVDs I bought and like watched on the regular. It was like, oh yeah, let's throw in Batman again. It's so good.
Yeah, I actually didn't see this for the first time till I was maybe 11 or 12, and I'd already seen all 4 of the original 90s Batman movie, Batman 89, Returns, Forever, and Batman and Robin. But I watched this one day and I knew it was going to be goofy because I'd always seen pictures of it. But it's one of those things like when you saw pictures of this, but you had already seen and were more familiar with, because Batman 89 is one of those movies I can list off that I don't ever remember watching for a first time. I've just always watched it. Like Ghostbusters, Great Outdoors.
For sure.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, even Christmas Vacation. A lot of these movies, they're just built into my brain. And that's one of them. So it's kind of weird. Batman has just always been and always will be to me. So when I watched this, I had to go into it with a different perspective, but I was also 12, so I was able to enjoy it because I'd also watched the Scooby-Doo Batman crossover stuff from the 70s. So it's pretty easy to digest this one.
Yeah, and I love how towards the end of Adam West's life, he was able to get a couple of these animated films out in the style of this movie.
Yeah.
Continue on with that kind of character with Burt Ward, doing Robin and everything. So it really was
they did
fun.
Some comics too at one point.
Yeah.
Speaking of, they are doing a Batman comic series, which we will be covering in some form or fashion this eventually.
Yeah, and
yes, eventually, yes.
Yeah.
It's a digital version, so with the trade paperback release, it'll come out eventually. That's probably when we'll get to it. I'm not one for I don't mind digital comics, but comics, man, I really prefer just to read and have the.
Yeah, I'm not getting the digital version. I'm waiting till they're all out and I'll probably buy the individual issues because I actually like individual issues, but yeah, especially on a small run like that, I don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this movie is just as campy as can be, which is amazing in its own way.
I think I'm the only person who was smoking weed when I watched this, and out of the 3 of us, at least, not out of everyone. maybe hopefully there's a few other people
Does it
out
help?
there who blaze up. Hell yeah, it does, especially when it opens up with all these psychedelic colors and like
Yeah.
cool lit shots and shit during the opening sequence. And I'm like, all right, this sets the tone. I'm here for it.
Yeah, the opening's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like all those shots and the colors, like oversaturated in just one color and everything. It's pretty cool.
Was Batgirl wasn't introduced until the second or third season, right?
Yeah.
So she couldn't have been in this movie anyway.
No,
That
this
would've
came out between the first and second
Yeah.
season, which I'm not super familiar with the show, but I've been toying with the idea of picking it up and watching it all. But
They were streaming it somewhere at one point.
I think it's on Prime, is what I hear,
Mm.
but I don't have Prime.
I kind of got an itch to watch it now.
It's a good series. I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff in it, and this movie just basically amplifies it because it just brings all the villains together, which works so well.
Yeah. It's funny though, like some bits you're just wondering, is this hilarious on purpose? Like some of it clearly
gotta
is,
be.
but some of it you will just wonder, is this just a sign of the times that it's hilarious? Or
It's very tongue in cheek. Like I think they knew
Right.
what they were doing when they did this. Like there's no doubt about it. They're like, hey,
well, I think that for sure with like the riddles and stuff, because the riddles are fucking ridiculous.
yes, absolutely.
Like the fucking what is it? A sparrow with a machine gun, or some other kind of bird, maybe. But
I think it was Sparrow.
either way, we're gonna think it is now.
You know what I had the biggest epiphany while watching this movie though? Listening to Adam West deliver his dialogue as Batman specifically, and the way he would pause and talk is just like, oh my God. Everything about Jeff Goldblum's existence is based on Adam West as Batman. Just the way he speaks, the pausing, and the tone of his voice is very influenced by that.
You're stoned out of your mind, man.
No, I could see what you're talking about.
I got a big kick out of that.
There's just some funny things in here that are always like, they do them in the show too, so it's not like you can say it's only attributed to this movie, but like the instant costume changer always makes me laugh.
Oh yeah,
fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not sure they ever show that in the TV show, but like, how does that work?
Yeah, I don't recall.
They just fall into the suit, and it.
Like I said, I'm not super familiar with the show, but I want to be. I want to believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they introduced in this that was never and wasn't even subsequently used in the show. I don't think, like the Batboat and Copter. I don't remember if
Yeah,
they were
they're
ever
in the show. That's one of the
Were they?
reasons they're in the movie is the directors of the show wanted, and just the creators, whoever's in charge was like, yeah, if we put these in the movie, then we'll have them for the show.
So they used them later in the show, just not in the
I
first.
don't think they were in the first season. I think
No.
I couldn't remember if they were ever used in the show at all.
There's all sorts of weird things. Like at some points,
But
I don't
then-
think in the movie, but like at some point, Batman's, his little square things on his belt are made of like sponges and stuff, so he can actually bend over and stuff and not be super uncomfortable
yeah.
and weird stuff like that.
They definitely make good use of the vehicles because they use the Batboat twice. They use the Batcopter twice.
The Batcopter's dope.
Then they
as
had
hell.
the Bat cycle with the go-kart on it.
Yeah. The shark scene is so fucking infamous.
Yes.
But I love it. It's hilarious.
When it happens, it's so cheesy and crap, and then like they have so much dialogue to explain why it was complete crap, and you're just like, what the hell are you doing? And they're like,
Watching
"God,
it,
who would have known Batman had a anti-shark repellent?"
this feels like watching a 90s movie that's like making fun of Batman, like an older style of Batman.
Or like the Brady Bunch movie.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the
Yeah.
Brady Bunch movie and Charlie's Angels.
Yes,
Like
it's
how those are. That's what it feels like. It's fucking hilarious. I like how they call themselves like we're ordinary citizens. The way he talks and everything is amazing. Oh yeah, the shark repellent bat spray. That's what it's called.
yeah, that was amazing. And then like the shark blows up, and you have no idea why until later on in the
It's
line.
so fucked up.
Because like,
Like,
it ate him on. And you're like, what?
They stuffed it full of TNT, is what he said.
Yeah.
Like what? What the fuck are you talking about?
So you're trying to blow up Batman with the. So they stuffed the shark in this bomb box base or shoved. I can't even talk right now. They filled the shark with bombs and then blew him up to try to kill him.
Junior!
I got to say, it looks like Cesar Romero's mustache was trimmed way down for this movie compared to a lot of the times in the TV series when he's like refused to shave and they just had a fucking cake that white makeup all over his face to cover it.
I don't remember ever seeing that as a kid on the small TV with,
because it's such bad quality that I think you can see it very well.
But now I know about it and watch it on higher definition. I'm like, I can't fucking not see it.
Like that's all I look at when he's on screen.
And it's so distracting now. They should spend the money and just digitally erase it.
There's some of these
they did Superman.
There's some of these lines that are hilarious in there where of course not, we're fully deputized. Or of course not. I think it's actually the commissioner that says it. Batman and Robin are fully deputized. And he's like, yeah. And Robin says something about support your police.
So they have that whole little intro thing at the very beginning, basically saying like, we recognize all the heroes out there and thanks for you doing your work. I'm like, you're in our inspiration. You're like, okay. A little bit of ask.
That's what I have to say about that.
So another crazy part of that is that this is the second Catwoman. First Catwoman did not make it to the movie. She had a back injury. That would have been Julie Newmar, and then replaced by Lee Merriweather in the film.
Yeah,
Eartha Kitt played Catwoman in 3 seasons, or in 3 episodes of season 3. And Eartha Kitt, we know and love from the movie Ernest Scared Stupid. So she's a little old lady, and she's fucking badass. But
and the movie Holes.
Yeah, Lee Merriweather.
Your family are cursed forever. For always and eternity. That's what she says.
But Lee Merriweather's a good job as Catwoman in this. She's interesting because she does this like Russian accent, but this was like pre-Cold War or just kind of right at the Cold War stuff. So like they still had Russian press questioning it. So it was kind of a weird time.
Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah.
Was she ever in the TV show as Catwoman? Or did she just do the movie?
I think he just said that she did some.
Oh, she did,
but not a lot.
Oh, okay.
Catwoman's at the press conference though, doing the Russian thing in the outfit, and I like when she goes back to the
man couldn't figure it out. She's wearing leopard or cat clothing.
That man's a fucking moron.
Her name's Kitka.
He's like, I just want to get some pussy.
I love after he finds out that Kitka's Catwoman and has a dramatic moment where he's like sad.
Yeah. I like the fucking pirates. Ahoy, Catwoman! You fool! I told you never to address me by my real name.
Like just over the top cheese.
Fucking ridiculous. And just pirates in general.
Oh yeah.
Fucking ridiculous.
I will say I love the fucking design of the Penguin's submarine. Like, yeah, they bought it a week ago. He's already like a whole fucking penguin with flippers and everything.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Penguin has that fucking umbrella they ride later too that rules.
Yes, and that's like very Mary Poppins-esque in my opinion, like the way it feels with the moving backgrounds they shot it on and like the fans, you know, it's so cheesy.
I like how they're all fucking bickering though, and then like Joker shocks them and shit. Like they do this throughout the whole thing, but at one point, like the whole torpedo sequence is fucking just ridiculous. Because it's like every 5 minutes, like I feel like Penguin's like, "Are you loading the torpedoes, Joker?" And he's like, "Woohoo! I'm ready to go." And then it fucking just keeps doing that for like 20 minutes, and then eventually they launch the torpedoes.
Yeah, I feel like the movie got a little repetitive at parts. Like they don't know how to make a feature-length movie instead of just like 2 22-minute episodes or whatever.
Right. Well, that's what it felt like. It felt like they combined like maybe a 2 or 3 part episode into a movie, and so like they recapped some things in there instead of just extending the season. You know, it was probably like, oh, hey, they're going to give us the money to make a movie, so let's kind of roll it that way.
Or like all the dumb fucking labels in the bat fucking cave.
So he's like the water dispensary is clearly labeled.
The magnifying lens.
Yeah.
Like fucking everything's just labeled to the.
Batman has a label maker.
Right.
Just fucking goes crazy with it.
Either that or Alfred does, and he's fucking bored at home and he's fucking doing coke and he's like, I'm gonna label fucking everything. Alfred's on some fucking coke in this movie.
You gotta give it to Alfred in this movie because Alfred is a fucking skis, a dirty old man. Because when Bruce Wayne and Catwoman are smooching and getting it on, Robin turns the TV off and He's like, shouldn't we be watching this? Master Bruce or Batman told us to watch this. And he's like, they kind of make a joke about it, but like you clearly see
Master Bruce would want me to masturbate.
Exactly.
Master Dick.
And for
Dick, would you like me to masturbate you while we watch Master Bruce fuck Catwoman?
I feel like that's one of the more boring versions of Alfred we've ever had, at least in this movie. Like in the series, I don't remember him really standing out to me in one way or another, but especially in this movie, it was just like, okay. Like all I remember his being a creepy old pervert in this.
Well, he's ridiculous as fucking Batman and Robin because he's dying and shit.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I don't like that one at all.
I love the episode where Alfred has to dress up as Batman because they got to be somewhere at the same time as Bruce Wayne.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like this old man.
I think I've seen a picture of
He's
that.
got the mustache.
That whole part in this movie when they're like, why isn't Batman showing up yet? And like none of these dumbasses realize it's the fucking millionaire they've already got captured.
Yeah.
And
The episode where he talks to Commissioner Gordon as Bruce Wayne and Batman, and he doesn't change his voice at all. He's just like from one phone to another with the same voice.
Yeah, I get so used to looking at him being Batman that when he's Bruce Wayne, I'm like,
Yeah, he looks weird.
Yeah, he looks weird to me because he's not fucking wearing the cowl.
one of the funnier segments is where they just fucking run through town because like there's some scenes of them like shooting them running down through the streets somewhere in like an actual downtown area, and then there's like the moving backdrop they have when they're running, and you're just like in the editing is just like one scene to the next, and it's so weird and bizarre.
It's amazing. Like the further you get from this movie, the better it gets in time. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah,
it's hilarious. Like the fucking torpedo sequence. The he must have a what does he say? A super energy reverse polarizer.
And the battery dies after 2.
Oh no, the battery has died.
No, he says the battery or something.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, luckily that porpoise swam in the
dude, that's
path of
so
the third
fucked
torpedo.
up and weird. They're like, thank God that porpoise jumped in the way of the torpedo. Yes, he really sacrificed himself. Gee willikers.
And then he talks about like how Batman like just didn't let the bomb go off at the bar, and Robin, he's like, they were drinkers, Robin, but they're still people, and they could like basically trying to give you the inspirational speech about changing your path in life.
No, I love that. What does Robin say about like, I can't imagine not being able to trust my own eyes. Like they're talking shit on druggies and shit, and it's hilarious. I even wanted to get that bit that you just said they may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also humans. But like I wanted to get that as a fucking soundbite because it's hilarious. I did not, however, but
the Bat Cycle, how you have that little scene where they go get it out from behind the woods.
Yeah,
I love that because that was like it's like when they just reuse the same footage over and over again.
Yeah, it's fucking hilarious when they do that shit. There's a lot of that in these kind of shows. I'm still stuck on the porpoise giving his life for us. That's so ridiculous to me. Because they just cut away and they don't explain. And the next shot's of them driving away in the bat boat. And they're like, yeah, thank God that porpoise jumped in the way of the torpedo.
Well, I mean, just think about all the animals that died in this. Like the shark gets blown up, the the porpoise dies, and it's like, okay, what the hell else is going on here?
The penguin kills a lot of sea life.
Mm-hmm. For someone named after sea life, he sure doesn't like to keep them alive.
Russian banana. I feel like that's a sex act.
Yeah, basically.
Because there's a lot of Russian porn out there.
Yeah.
Some of what you are about to see and hear is explicit.
No, the Russian banana bit though. Do you remember that? One of the riddles.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like, what was the one that led him to Russian? Like,
I don't even remember.
it was
It's
like
so
fast
fucking dumb.
people or something. I don't know.
Yeah, something about what do people do when they're in a hurry?
They're Russian.
Exactly.
Out to sea. Sea for Catwoman.
Yeah. The riddles just make me want to slap someone
The riddles are so cheesy, man, intentionally, and it's just like so weird.
I like how they have that guy though trapped in the fucking bunker or wherever he's at, and it like
Commodore Schmidlab.
Yeah, and they have like the fucking guy out there.
Well, he's like in a
with
cabin.
a picture of the ocean and shit.
He's in a cabin on the submarine.
Yeah, he is. And the Joker takes him to tea. He's like, "Oh, this is the greatest."
Yeah, they got
The problem with the submarine is I've confused some bits of like that with the hideout that they have. That's not the submarine that she walks into earlier in the movie. So that's my issue with that.
Well, then they got the whole segment where, Bruce Wayne tries to fight all the bad guys when he wakes up after he's kidnapped. And the best part of that is that normally you get a lot of the thwops and punches and the sound effects and those kind of fight scenes, but there's some scenes where they don't even like have a fake hit sound. Like there's just Bruce Wayne swinging at people and people falling over, and there's no sound effects at all. And I was like, what the hell?
That's kind of dope though.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was funny though, because nowadays it's like so overly done, and you're
Right.
so used to hearing that, and like to not have it besides some of the fight sequences, I was like, oh, interesting.
Well, see, that's the thing. During the first season, the text when he would hit someone would be overlaid on the image, like a comic. Second season, I think going forward,
filled the whole screen, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting difference. It was for budget reasons. So they could just splice something in instead of having to draw over it, I guess, which I don't understand how that would take a bunch longer, but whatever. I don't know. I don't understand 60s filmmaking, so TV filmmaking. Words.
Exactly.
Smoke weed every day.
You do.
Oh yeah.
He lives by his own advice.
So, anything else to say here? Come on, you got something. I'm trying to decipher my notes. Sorry.
I don't remember them ever like basically kind of failing, because at the end, I guess everyone's brains are swapped, like the UN people. So they're like the British guys, the Russian and or whatever.
Yeah.
The French guys, the Japanese, and so on.
Well, yeah, because they have that.
Then they're basically like, let's just kind of sneak out the window. Like, oh, fuck.
Hilarious.
And that's all based off.
They
that
all
silly
got fucking like
gag. Yeah, that's that silly fucking gag that as soon as everyone comes out, you're like, oh, okay. But Commodore Shidlap or Schmidlap.
Shit dick.
Yeah, shit dick. Because it's been.
Yeah, he knocks it over and sneezes.
Yeah, he knocks it over and sneezes everywhere. Okay. So that was like just one of those cheesy moments in there. But I remember as a kid, like thinking it was so cool, like seeing these piles of people dehydrated. So I imagine like that's kind of what it looks like when you're burned, when you're cremated, and you just got a little pile left. You're like,
I noticed when they dehydrated the Japanese guy, his pile was yellow.
I wasn't analyzing the colors of the piles. I just reminded me of like one of those little DIY sand kits. Like, can somebody make a layer of the bat? Like here's Japan, here's Mexico, whatever, and they only had 9 countries listed at the time. Like the world's 9 leaders of the world. And you're like, no, we don't need that.
Yikes.
And then
about that.
Miss Kitka, when Batman realizes Miss Kitka's Catwoman after her mask gets knocked off. And
The fucking music starts playing.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah. And like he has no idea and she has no idea. And then Robin's like, aren't you gonna? And he's like, no, we don't want to reveal ourselves. And you're like, oh my God. Just so silly. It's ridiculous.
Right.
All the villains are so over the top in this at times.
Oh fuck yeah, they are. You know what? I was thinking recently. I watched the new It movies like this week. And I was like, oh my God, Bill Skarsgård feels like he's doing a Cesar Romero. I got those vibes from him, like his Pennywise.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he's nowhere near as creepy, but he's
Like-
just as weird.
Catwoman's the most like kind of straightforward character through this whole thing. even though she's doing her like Russian accent and everything.
Would you like for me to take your pants off instead?
The Riddler, though, that actor is great. He's so over the top.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of weird, but I feel like the Riddler and the Joker are too similar in this series. Like they're both kind of like on the same wavelength. Like, and I guess just though
That happened in Batman Forever as well.
yeah, but the Joker we have now seems to be much darker and more of a killer than what we've previously experienced. So it's a little bit more interesting to see like those two just kind of play that comedic effect for the same thing. So it just kind of felt like their jokes could have bounced back and forth besides the riddles.
Yeah.
Some of the fight scenes though, like I think there's a scene where like the Riddler, when they're fighting Bruce Wayne, just watch the background characters because it's fucking hilarious. There's a scene where like the Riddler like jumps over a couch and like, he acts like he's supposed to be trying to hit somebody or hits into somebody, and like you can clearly see they're just catching him because like that's how they rehearsed it. And it's just, so terrible. And you're like, oh man, he was basically gonna give him a little hug.
Oh my god. That's good.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. So no, this Batman movie is so great. It still holds up. It's just so much fun because it doesn't ever take itself so seriously. You're like, yeah, I can't watch that. And you're like, no, this is such a sign of the times.
Yeah, I'm going to check out. There's an audio commentary with Adam West and Burt Ward. I haven't listened to that.
Cool.
Tour of the Batmobile, Batman featurette, theatrical trailer and teaser, English stereo, English mono, French mono, and subtitles in English and Spanish. I'm going to have to check those out.
I like all the stories that are coming out now, even from Burt Ward, about how Adam West was like fucking like 2 or 3 girls a night.
You bet.
And he was just the biggest fucking.
He was a fucking huge TV celebrity in his prime, and he was single.
He was
this
wearing,
guy was
wearing tights all the time. Like he was just doing his thing, man.
I imagine.
I wonder if he fucked back though.
Burt Ward probably had to pull him out of a pool of pussy juice and resuscitate him.
I think like Burt Ward said that Adam West brought him into it. Like
I'm sure he
probably had like an orgy together at least once.
Come here, young Burt, and let me show you where the wild goose goes. Sure thing, Batman.
That's amazing.
Oh, I wonder if he banged Aunt Harriet.
Probably. Wouldn't you?
Just to say I did.
I know. I think
Let's go.
Besides, like hearing like his Hugh Hefner type stories, and also comparing that with Stan Lee, it's just amazing to hear this shit because he did so much other voice work.
Superhero sex organs.
And he was very self-aware of the sense of humor and style of shit he was doing, which I think is great because there's so many people that take themselves so seriously as celebrities, and like this is a dude that clearly knew what the fuck was going on and had a blast while doing it. So that's pretty fucking admirable.
I guess they considered him to play James Bond like after Connery or something too, when they kept thinking about getting Americans to play Bond. So he kind of looks like Roger Moore a little bit.
He probably would have been okay, but yeah.
With that series, I'm surprised they didn't just throw him in like an Americanized version of Bond, like where they set in the same universe and just called him somebody else as the American version.
I forget who ran the series originally. It was ABC or NBC, but when they canceled it, NBC or whoever was gonna pick it up and start it over again, but they'd already torn down the Batcave, so they said it'd be too expensive to rebuild, so it never got picked back up again.
Dang.
So we could have gotten more seasons of the show, and unfortunately,
You know how much I sacrificed?
they were a little too late.
That's crazy that they had all that going. I mean, I think that show for a short ran series, because it didn't last too many years. What was it? Three seasons,
I think.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It was like 90
movie, like that's great. You don't ever get to the point where it's just becomes shit. Which I think a lot of series, we're in a lucky spot now where a lot of people are like, you know what? I don't need to have 88 seasons of this just because it's popular. Like, let's try to just tell a good story. And there's obviously still plenty of serial bullshit going on, but I think we're finding a better balance again.
I mean, Stranger Things is getting a season 4, and a lot of people are already just over it. I'm actually pretty excited to see where it goes, but
I'm hoping this is the last season just because I'm like, okay, season 2 had 2 or 3 good episodes. The rest of it was kind of mediocre. Season 3 brought it back, and then we've just waited so long for season 4 now that it's like, okay.
I think season 2, if you just cut like 3 episodes worth of material out of it, I don't think it's necessarily bad. Like there's no one episode that's bad necessarily. It's just that there's a lot of extra bad shit.
Did they plan to do more than one season?
No, I think they originally wrote it as one thing, and then
I mean, that's how lots of stuff happens. Back to the Future. But season 3 of Stranger Things is just as entertaining as the first one.
I mean,
It's a little
usually a
bit
TV
different.
show, they plan on doing more than one season.
The second one tried to capture the first season again too well.
The second
third
second
one,
season,
the
yes.
third season was like, we are changing this up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like they referenced a lot of more different types of pop culture as well as the similar same shit they were doing. So
yeah, season 2 was like greenlit, and then they're like, hey, we need this immediately. This is such a hit. We can't wait too long. And so it came right out. And that's why it felt so rehashed, because they didn't get to spend the time on it. And so when they decided to do 3, it was like, hey, we want to take our time and get this right.
yeah, I haven't watched the Fear Street stuff from Netflix yet, but I want to.
I watched the first one.
90s one.
Yeah.
Any good?
And I watched it late, so I kind of like dozed off here and there.
Mm.
Then I started the second one to get very far because I went to sleep for good.
Yeah.
So it's pretty good. It's a lot more adult, I guess, than I was expecting. Maybe.
Oh yeah, I've heard it's pretty fucked up and pretty cool. There's a lot in the 1660s.
That's the third
sixth one. Yeah, I heard there's a lot of like lesbian shit in that one.
Ooh.
Like
I need to
lesbian witches and shit. So
I
I'm
need
like,
to-
all right, cool.
I need to
I'm
finish
down for that.
I might watch the first one again and then watch the other two.
Well, and I think they're all supposed to kind of tie together, which is interesting because you see the
Yeah, because the characters from the first movie are in the second one, and then it kind of flashes back to the 70s. So it's all connected.
yeah. So I think it's interesting that they did the original, but I guess it makes sense to release their origin story as the last episode. Or the
I thought you
last-
said orgy story.
Orgy story. The lesbian orgy story.
You said lesbian.
Not true.
It's going to be a coven of witches. It's going to be fucked by a coven of witches. You were fucked by an oven full of witches.
You ever see a monk get wildly fucked by teenage girls?
Exactly what I was thinking.
Really?
Oh,
Awesome.
yes.
Fuck yeah. Well, we're gonna move on to our I literally tried to do a theme song for this last night, but I just wasn't feeling what I was working on for a theme song for this. I need to do something more theatrical. So I'm still working on it. But we're doing pitch a summer tentpole. A Batman movie.
We'll just make one up real quick and sing it for us.
That's it for you.
Yeah.
There it is. It's ready. All right.
You had ice cream for dinner, didn't you?
He's a grown ass man. Don't fucking judge his decisions.
I saw him buying ice cream at Target earlier.
I didn't eat it yet.
Oh. Ooh, I could.
I'm saving it.
Oh.
Hey,
We were saving that. Yeah. Now there are two of them. So who wants to go first?
All right. So we are pitching Batman movies.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
I guess Nick. let's hear what you got.
Why do I gotta go first?
I think we should let Nick go last because I think he is probably the more knowledgeable person about Batman than both of us as a whole. But I could be wrong.
On the whole.
I mean, like you probably know more about actual comics of Batman than we do.
I haven't read a lot of the comics, but I've read
I've
like
read
the
very
main
few,
things. yeah.
I've met like Killing Joke year one.
Why
and-
I've never collected every issue every month since childhood, I don't know.
So I feel like we might also have more to say about his at the end, but I don't know, maybe not.
Okay. Well, then start us off, Alec.
Well, fine. I'm gonna go with mine's 2 movies, but one is a sequel.
To your first
And it's
movie?
actually but also other movies that already exist. But the first one's kind of it's I guess a sequel too. Let's just face it, I'm doing a Batman Beyond movie.
With Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, directed by Tim Burton. He's back. Writer, though, is going to be Ryan Coogler, writer of Black Panther. Score by Danny Elfman. We'll get him back, too.
I think Schumacher could have done Batman Beyond because wasn't it more of a neon futuristic city and stuff like he did in
Mhm.
Forever? And
But I'm
and
thinking
Robin?
more of like a still dark like that, but like Blade Runner.
Right.
and shit like that. The Crow. There's less neon and shit, but you know what I mean. So you obviously have Michael Keaton. You have I say fuck it, and since it's a film universe one, you bring Michelle Pfeiffer back too, since she is alive at the end of Batman Returns.
Isn't there a rumor that she's in Flash?
I'm not sure. Maybe. Again, this is something that could actually happen. It may actually happen, but
I think it probably will.
I hope so. And just because I couldn't think of any actors with dark hair who were around 18 years old.
Finn Wolfhard.
You know where I'm going with this. Finn Wolfhard. I didn't really want to do too much.
He's in mine as Robin.
That's hilarious. But Terry McGinnis is a high school student, so it works. And then he has a sidekick that's sort of his Alfred named Maxine, a younger teenage girl. Any guesses?
Robin?
McKenna Grace.
Oh.
Because fuck it. I've already been impressed by what I've seen her do. So in just the fucking trailer for Ghostbusters, I've seen her in one other thing. I can't even remember what it is now. But.
Netflix horror series that she's in. She's pretty good in that too.
And then the villain is going to be Arnold back as Mr. Freeze. But basically, there's a thing where Mr. Freeze is no longer a villain, right? That's kind of what happens at the end of that one. He goes to jail still.
I think they said Mr. Freeze will live a long time too because he's.
Yeah, so basically, Batman's trying to find a cure for him, and they're working together to try to find a cure, but the cure actually makes it worse. So that pisses off Mr. Freeze, and he becomes the villain again, and young Terry McGinnis has to stop him.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also an appearance from the Joker's gang, which is in the show, which is like a gang of Jokers. There's no like
actual Joker in that.
There's sort of like a leader, if I remember correctly, that might be like what you would call the Joker, but I don't remember it super well. I remember him having sort of dreadlocks or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, weird. But the sequel would come in with the Justice League in time travel. So a Justice League probably from the 90s, like the late 90s Justice League. And since this is all sorts of fiction, I would probably just cast Nick Cage as Superman from that unknown film. I don't know. Angelina Jolie as Wonder Woman. Who'd be a good Flash from the late 90s? Jeff Goldblum?
So your movie is filmed in the 90s?
Yes.
All right. Okay.
So you'd have a 90s Justice League that time travels they're dealing with time travel to the future of Batman. Batman Beyond came out after Batman the Animated Series and then the New Adventures of Batman or whatever that one that was with Batman, Robin.
It was basically just a direct continuation.
Yeah, it was exactly that's what I'm saying. This was the third one.
It's like Slimer and the real Ghostbusters kind of.
Yeah. Well, Batman Beyond also crossed over with Justice League, the animated series, like twice. So I was like, that's what I want to do. Cross that over in the next one. So that'd be cool, I think. I mean, I'd say you could just cross it over with the current universe, but that's kind of already happening in a different way. And I don't necessarily want to step on that toes in my imagination. But that one would probably these days be directed by Snyder, written by Gunn, score by Elfman. So that's my pitch for a Batman movie and its sequel. What do you got, Charles?
All right. Well, mine's an interesting one. Very similar in very basic concept. So mine is a Batman 89 universe sequel. So we start off and we see Billy D. Williams as Harvey Dent and as Two-Face in here, right? We don't see the transition just because you see that in flashbacks, because instead of doing a bunch of Batman flashbacks to his childhood, we see
you're going to show it on a courtroom on a TV where Batman's just somehow in the fucking courtroom in his. He
holds up the notebook.
Right. He's in the fucking court. Batman's just in the courtroom, like just chilling in his bat outfit. It's like probably
like testimony be valid.
I can imagine him sitting there in his outfit and having to like adjust his nuts. You know,
obviously
it's tape everywhere.
Still, Michael Keaton is Bruce Wayne. But
it's funny we both picked him.
it's kind of one of those things where Two-Face isn't the main villain throughout. You know, it's kind of one of those, you see him there, but it's kind of setting up his own picture later on. So you see some of these things going on as he's causing some stuff. But the main villain of this movie would be the Man-Bat. And that would be Dr. Robert Kirkland Langstrom, played by Alias Cotius. I just think that he's good for a doc. He's got a good build for
Elias.
Elias. Oh yeah.
Justin
Alias.
pronounces names weird. It's funny sometimes. I mean, we all do, but it's funny because Justin does super weird ones to me that like you just have to point out that it's a simple pronunciation. Like you've heard the name Elias before.
Yeah.
You just never
writing.
You never known
It's not
anyone
very
named
common,
it.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Anyway, so he would be the Man-Bat and the Doctor, and so you'd see him kind of going back and forth.
I'm
there
not
to-
Spider-Man. I'm Man Spider.
Exactly. But I always loved the episodes of Batman the Animated Series with the Man-Bat and just seeing,
First
like,
episode was the Man-Bat.
yeah, and you see like how much of a crazy villain that is for Batman, right? We always kind of seem to see the straightforward villains on the movies.
Yeah, I'd love to see like Clayface and
Something like this,
Big
yeah.
Killer Croc.
And I would love to see how fucking weird the Man-Bat would be per Tim Burton. Like, why wouldn't you, right?
Seems like every time they're gonna make a movie with a different villain, it always gets canceled.
I'd say a Man-Bat one, if like a modern director,
Same
because
Superman.
Tim Burton hasn't been good since the 90s. And I mean, I also picked Tim Burton, but I almost picked like Guillermo del Toro, which I don't like some of his movies, like that
probably be
fish
good
fucking
for-
movie. I don't like it.
That'd probably
But-
be good for Man-Bat movie.
Like that's what I mean. Like a Man-Bat one, like his creature effects type of shit and directing, I think would work well with that.
But this would have had to have been made around the time that Batman Forever came out instead. And then obviously you would get some Marlon Wayans as Robin in there.
That's
Obviously,
funny because they had was it a deleted scene where they had like that giant bat creature?
In Batman Forever.
Yeah.
That was a dream sequence, but yeah,
Yeah.
it was cool. I've seen the footage. It's
So
dope.
that could
as
have been
hell.
like Man-Bat, yeah.
yeah, but I think you got to have the Marlon Wayans as Robin in there, even though he's just kind of, he would more likely be helping with the Harvey Dent Two-Face situation. But obviously he'd have to come in and kind of bail Batman out with the Man-Bat and, you know, make Batman realize that he does need some help from time to time
Mhm.
that he doesn't have to have intercourse with. So.
So
Or
he
can't-
doesn't have intercourse with Robin in your movie?
Not in this one.
Oh. So what happens off camera though? And it's insinuated.
That's implied. But
Okay,
it's
cool.
also Tim Burton. So.
Just wanna make
Youthful
sure.
Ward.
And I didn't follow any specific stories on that, but I just thought the Man-Bat would be a great, terrifying creature to bring to life, especially when I think to like early '90s prosthetics and special effects and like
Yeah, that'd have been. Yeah.
because you know, like the way he shot all those in such dark areas to see like the Man-Bat flying around would be pretty awesome. So that's my pitch.
Yeah, I just wish they would make more. Just DC would focus on Batman movies and show us some villains we haven't seen before.
Well, yeah, make those, and if you want to bring the occasional other hero in to help out here and there, whatever, you can do that now. People don't care why or how they got there if they're just helping,
Mhm.
right?
I am excited to see the Matt Reeves Batman,
Yeah,
which I didn't even realize, but he directed Cloverfield.
and I'm looking forward to it. But we're still getting Penguin again. We're still getting Catwoman again. We're still getting Riddler again.
Yeah.
We're just getting a different interpretation. But I just want to see some different villains.
Yeah. I mean, those
Soon.
are it's like there's like Batman and Spider-Man pretty much have the most famous villains. Like Batman has more than fucking anyone that are actually super iconic.
Well,
So at least you're not just seeing the Joker constantly.
I think if the Pattinson
But-
movie does well, I think they're gonna use the
I mean, it's
the
like
common villains for the first one to get it going. But hopefully they do something.
well, that's what I mean.
different.
Like Catwoman, we've seen 3 times
Yeah.
since I was born in movies, and if you include the Halle Berry version.
Joker,
which-
we've seen a million times.
but I mean, I would like to see another Poison Ivy and a Mr. Freeze.
But also, like this Penguin is more comic accurate in this new one.
Yeah.
He wasn't like a fish man creature.
Although, I mean, I love the Fishman creature.
Riddler
But-
seems like they're doing something kind of different with him than even in the comics.
Yeah, for sure.
But he
Speak-
could
uh,
just out that way too.
Speaking of the new Batman, though, the first toys from that are hitting shelves. You can get the Hot Wheels, the Batman,
The new Batman movie.
the new Batman movie Hot Wheel of the Batmobile's out now. I've seen it in
Ooh,
stores.
really?
I actually kind of like the design of that because it reminds me of the 66 one combined with like
I kind of want to collect all those
the newer stuff.
all those
Kind of
little,
like a muscle style car that's just been kind of pimped out, which is kind of neat because the last ones have been so militarized. It's kind of lost on me a little bit just because the designs like looks like off the shelf military trucks.
the early comic Batmobiles were kind of like this.
Yeah.
Where it was just kind of a regular car.
Oh yeah, like the 66 one, just a souped up
Even the
regular car.
66 one, yeah.
That's what this gives me the vibes of. Obviously not like that one, but still.
I mean, he's just starting out, and this is like his second year in this movie. Maybe later on, you get the more outrageous tanks and shit, but
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah.
Either way. Nick, are you going to tell us about your Batman movie?
Okay, mine will take place in the Snyderverse.
As predicted.
And since we got screwed out of the Affleck solo movie, I want to kind of flesh out whatever happened with his Robin. Obviously got murdered. I think Snyder's at least confirmed that the Joker killed him for sure. And I guess Harley Quinn helped. And it was Dick Grayson. It wasn't Todd or anything.
Tim Drake.
Yeah. So, and you know, Batman's obviously, they make reference in Batman versus Superman that Batman wasn't always as he is, like killing people and being more
asshole,
not caring about, you know, life and stuff like that. People always complain, well, Batman's not supposed to kill. But obviously this Batman has gone through some shit and now he just doesn't care.
Who's Robin? Oh yeah, you said
Finn Wolfhard.
That's
which
hilarious.
I don't know how much he's going to be in this. Probably just flashbacks, him getting killed.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he'd probably be in it more than that. So maybe I don't even need to cast someone as big as Finn Wolfhard, but just like Finn Wolfhard's and everything. So,
well, it's interesting because it's like, should Robin actually be a teenager or should he be like someone who's 25 or?
Well, I also thought Finn Wolfhard's 18, and so he's kind of like later Robin anyway before he went off to be Nightwing.
Yeah.
So I thought that worked. And Batman's been Batman for 20 years now. So if Robin started out pretty young, it works. But, you know, you'd have your Jeremy Irons back as Alfred, Jared Leto, reluctantly, I would have as Joker just for continuity's sake.
Yeah.
I would love to have.
Well, if it's written well, it could be okay still.
Yeah, you know.
I never
if it was
hated Jared Leto. I only hate his Joker mainly because of the writing and the costume design and shit. Like,
yeah, give him a chance and a good kind of like. I think George Clooney could have potentially been a good Batman if he was in a better movie.
Well, right.
Yeah.
George Clooney was not necessarily bad. The movie's bad though.
Of course, Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, J.K. Simmons, Commissioner Gordon. I couldn't think of a Hugo Strange. I want Hugo Strange in this. I couldn't think of who to cast on my own, so I kind of looked on the internet, see what people were saying. A lot of people said Lars Mikkelsen. But we definitely haven't had Hugo Strange in any live action film.
Yeah.
And I kind of want so Batman's kind of gone off and he's a little more violent now, a little more reckless, kind of doesn't disregard for human life and stuff like that. So the police are kind of after him again. And they bring in Hugo Strange to help capture him or figure out who he really is, to help them capture him. Hugo Strange obviously figures it out like he did in the comics. And, you know, like in the comics, he's tried to he knows who he is. He's tried to become him and just kind of fuck up his whole life. So
we become one.
So kind of a more psychological film, maybe.
And
we get to know, you know, Batman's obviously snapped. Robin's been killed. I want to explore that and why he is the way he is in Batman versus Superman and such. And kind of get inside his mind a little bit. Because Hugo Strange was like a psychologist or whatever too. I don't know.
No, it sounds good.
I was trying to think of a particular comic book story to kind of base it on. I couldn't remember exactly how it went.
I always maintained that Batman was the best part of the new Snyderverse stuff. So I always wanted to see more of that specifically. Like Batman versus Superman's the most rewatchable out of all that stuff to me because it has the most Batman and
yeah, it's pretty much a Batman movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
there's I've only watched it twice, but if I was going to go watch something else because I wanted some of that Batman Batfleck, that's probably what I'd watch. because I also don't have to sit through 4 hours of a fucking Snyder cut either.
Well, the extended cut of BVS is 3 hours.
Yeah, that can eat my ass too.
But it actually works better. I mean, they cut out shit that they shouldn't have cut out because then it makes the movie make less sense. But I think Henry Cavill's a good Superman, just maybe not the most ideal Superman movies as he had, or
Yeah, it just mostly comes down to writing and like what you're trying to do with the story. I mean, all that just feels like it was just trying to catch up to Marvel, and had they just let it breathe and do its own thing, it would have been completely different because it all just felt rushed and like, hey, we have to do this now. And you're like,
well, they act like only the Justice League movie would make them money, but a solo Batman movie is going to make you money. Obviously, Aquaman and Wonder Woman has made them money. Those are two of the more successful movies they've had. So I don't know why they were in such a rush. Like, we should have had a solo Batman movie before they did BVS.
Yeah.
Solo Aquaman, solo Wonder Woman before they did Justice League.
Well, they should have just been like, all right, we're going to universe build this bitch. And by the time we get to Justice League in 5 movies, it'll be worth it.
yeah, that's really what they missed because, like, yeah, the dark version of Batman, you don't understand his motivations. And then Jared Leto, right, is this whole thing where he's a great actor. He can get into character and be in a role. And then, like, this version of the Joker was like,
the only thing I have to say about him is that he runs a cult on his island, which we still have to run a 6-sided world about it. Maybe we even did, but either way, he runs a fucking cult on an island. Don't forget. So he is kind of a fucking weirdo and an asshole, but all actors are weirdos in some aspect anyway.
yeah,
All I'm saying is I don't hate him as an actor, but I hate some of his performances. Some of his choices on the sets of movies where he's acting like a fucking asshole because he heard that other people who portrayed the Joker acted like fucking assholes, which they didn't actually act like assholes. They just emerged themselves in the role while you were a weird fucking prick.
I watched the Little Things with him and Denzel. He was pretty interesting in that.
I just think the character design for that, like, here's the white trash Joker, and you're like, why do we need the white trash Joker?
The tattoos didn't make any fucking sense.
Neither
The
did the
Joker's not
grill.
the joke. No, well, I think there was a version of the Joker with fake teeth, but actually that makes sense that Batman just knocked all of his fucking teeth out.
I mean, I guess, but still, it just adds to the look of like with the.
But the tattoos are stupid. Joker's not going to tattoo damaged on his forehead. He's not going to tattoo ha 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 on himself.
Well, he's also not going to lay around like an edgelord in a circle of knives, laughing maniacally. Like, I could almost see that being drawn in a comic book.
Well, I mean, you can do whatever you want with Joker if it's a different universe. This isn't like the main continuity of the comics or stuff like that. But is it a good choice?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Is it a good different
it's
thing
too
to do?
childish. It
But
seems like a childly written thing.
But in the Snyder cut of Justice League, he doesn't have the tattoos anymore. I don't remember if he has the gold teeth or whatever, but now he's got like long hair.
Yeah, see, it just doesn't work for me because the character doesn't feel anything like the Joker at all. And it just like,
I thought he was maybe a little better in the Justice League, but the dialogue was atrocious. Like, he's talking about reach arounds with Batman and stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can't necessarily blame him and not the people writing and directing.
Yep. I think the most iconic character that's emerged from this DC stuff is obviously Harley Quinn, though.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into the Suicide Squad review in a different video, which you should also check out on our YouTube if you aren't. We do have one more segment to go on this episode.
Yep.
Some Twink Peaks.
Twins? We're reviewing Twins.
We now return to the real Ghostbusters.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks. Pretty good.
Bill Murray's the funniest man on the planet.
Episode by episode.
2 seconds.
Yes. Don't let me forget.
I will.
All right.
Episode 14 of season 2 called Double Play.
And
I think Justin's gonna take this one.
Yeah. Tell us
all by himself.
What was your first impressions on this one?
well, there's a lot of cool shit in this one, actually. So Cooper is a psychic.
Yeah, he predicts the wounds on this corpse. Fascinating, huh? Almost as if he had seen them before.
Or did it?
It
was the one-armed man.
It wasn't.
And then after the end of the last episode, or near the end of it, we saw that Leo finally decided to wake up from his comatose state,
Yeah.
and he comes back with vengeance. And
Leo, this scene is awesome. I love how it's lit. I love how their house has like been under construction for this whole show too. Just one of those interesting little touches. It's like, yeah, somebody could be doing renovations in life and then their life falls apart because they're doing shady shit. Like that's realistic.
yeah,
Just one of those interesting things in this show. And my motherfucker wakes up. It's like all dark in the house. You see his shadow standing there. He has an axe. And he's like, "You've been a bad girl." And he like fucking chases her around and shit. And at one point she stabs like the outside plastic to get through to the outside. Because like I said, they're doing renovations or something. So there's just plastic separating the outside on one part of the wall. And she cuts through it with a knife. And then Leo throws her fucking across the room. And Bobby shows up to the rescue. Distracts Leo long enough that Shelly gets to stab him in the fucking leg.
Barely, like hardly even goes in.
Right. Is it in yet? That's what Leo said.
like this
In
whole
the hurt.
segment's like influenced by horror movies, influenced by, you know, like the whole chasing with that. You're like, did you lift this from The Shining? Chasing someone with an axe? Because this feels an awful lot like The Shining.
I mean,
you have some of that. I mean, obviously,
Twin Peaks is very much horror.
yes.
Like it's not clearly only horror. It's horror, comedy, soap opera. It's like fucking a lot of shit. But,
it
when
works
it's
for
horror,
things
does it pretty well, I think.
Yeah, but you also get like those, you know, in a lot of soap operas, they're killing each other and killing a scorned lover and shit like that. So this like plays perfectly with that whole bit as well.
Yeah. I like how Andy also tries to tell this is you know, another one of those stories I hate, but we got to talk about it just because it's fucking ridiculous. Andy's trying to convince Lucy that little Nicky is fucking a murderer and he killed his parents when he was 6. And Dr. Hayward eventually comes in later on and is just like, you know what? You're fucked up in the head for thinking this. His parents were killed and you're fucked up. You're all fucked up. You're wrong. You're weird. Even though Dr. Hayward has some secrets of his own, which you may not have heard about yet, but we will get there. Cooper talks to Harry about Wyndham Earl, and he admits all of his fucked up shit that happened with that. For example, that he and Earl were partners assigned to protect Wyndham Earl's wife because she was witness to a federal crime.
Uh-oh.
And then Cooper fell in love with her. Probably fucked her. You know.
She wasn't in high school, probably.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. Wyndham Earl is much older than Cooper. So I wonder how old this woman was. I wonder if Cooper was like fucking an older woman like James is in the very terrible subplot, which we'll also get to.
Well, so Cooper likes older women.
Well, I don't know.
Cooper just
Because
likes
he does actually take interest in a woman pretty soon here.
Oh.
You'll see in the later half of this season, portrayed by someone quite famous.
David Duchovny?
No. Although, let's face it, we all want to fuck David Duchovny's Denise.
And drag, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, Cooper loved Wyndham Earl's wife, and he believes that Wyndham Earl killed her to cover up the crime that he committed.
That's
and maybe Cooper's just like, yeah, I got into some bad shit because I fucked my partner's wife, and he lost his shit. I don't know. Major Briggs shows up, and he's like fucking drunk. And he's like, I was in the White Lodge.
And they're like, fuck you, buddy. But he tells you that he went to the White Lodge while he was gone.
I like Cooper's hair in this episode. It keeps like falling down in the front, looking all like, oh, this is definitely, we're getting into the 90s here. We're getting there. Like your hair was looking like that for a while. Thomas Eckhart arrives. Eckhart. Who's that? What's that actor's name? I need to look it up.
Who?
Thomas Eckhart.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
He's very famous.
Was that the one I was trying to figure out earlier?
He's in Titanic.
David Warner. It was him, wasn't it?
Yes. He's in Titanic and
Yeah, because I saw him when you were watching. He had his sunglasses on. I was like,
Star
"Is that
Trek.
David
That's
Warner?"
what you know him from, isn't it?
Yeah, he was in Star Trek 5 and 6.
Interesting. Tron, Titanic, like I said, some Star Trek stuff. It's pretty cool. Because he's in this.
David Warner died in 1989. Jesus.
What? Really?
Or is that the character? Oh, the character died in 1989. No.
I was like, that doesn't even make sense. This was filmed after that. Is this man a ghost?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
Like the pilot was filmed in 88 or 89. I don't even remember.
Well, David Warner's still alive. I was saying, I didn't think he died. He is 80.
Jonathan's murdered, so they're convinced that Josie might have some sinister shit going on around her.
Mm-hmm.
They
get up to Seattle there.
Evelyn basically
Seattle, yeah. So
yeah, she's talking to James and she's like, I want to fuck you, James. I want to fuck you, James. And he's like, yeah, I mean, I want to fuck you, but like you're also a little bit crazy and you have a husband and he's like abusive, but sure, I'll fuck you. And then
after the vinegar strokes,
I don't even know if they fuck right there. I don't remember. I'm just making shit up. I mean, I know they fucked at some point. It's kind of implied, but James likes older women. He's like, I'm in high school. She's like, I don't care. He's like, I'm calling the FBI. Your phone is making sounds in my earphone.
well, the good news is it's not really good news, but
No, her husband gets murdered.
Yeah.
By their car, basically. Like it's fucking hysterical. She's standing there talking to James, and the husband is there too. And they're like, oh yeah, the car's great. How's it going, James? And he's like, it's like there's just this weird awkwardness because he's like, yeah, I fucked your wife, but you beat her, so I don't care. But also, I think she's about to maybe murder you. And then he leaves. James leaves. And then the guy gets in his little car and drives away. And the camera angle doesn't change away from Evelyn, just shows her face. And then like you hear a fucking car crash like 10 seconds after he drives away. So like apparently he died.
Yeah, so apparently he heard it too, because like that's a pretty quick turnaround to die when you're just driving out of your own fucking driveway.
Right. Like, did he Anton Yelchin that shit? Yelchin? Was he hit by his own car? That's pretty fucking dark to bring up, but hey.
Well, the parking brake failed and it rolled down on him when he was checking his mail.
Yeah.
And crushed him. Shitty.
Well, I didn't bring this down, but
yeah, well, thanks. That
was really tragic.
Jeff Goldblum, it's a really inappropriate time to laugh, I would say.
Yes, that's rude. Now, granted, your laughter does bring joy and smiles to millions of people's hearts.
Mm-hmm.
But surrounding death with that is inappropriate. So we get to see Leo stumbling through the woods and going into a cabin.
Lighten the mood.
Who'd you find in the cabin?
He found.
And for me, it's a symbol of my individuality and my belief in personal freedom.
Wyndham Earl.
Yep, Leo meets Wyndham Earl, and this is one of the weirdest fucking parts of the show too. Wyndham Earl with this motherfucker, but I can't remember what episode it is. But pretty soon we're gonna see a very interesting cameo from an actor who you've seen in some low budget horror films.
Ooh, low budget.
Nick Miller?
No, good guess though. I mean, I would love to see him in Twin Peaks. That'd have been dope as hell. Honestly, he would fit right in. Like a good character. Like Harry Dean Stanton is in Fire Walk with Me, the prequel, and he's in The Return. Like that's a perfect fucking addition to Twin Peaks. He and David Lynch are like the same fucking guy. You ever seen like Harry Dean Stanton? There's interviews with him when he's like really old and shit, and he's just like he's fucking amazing. And he's hilarious as shit. He's kind of an asshole and still. I mean, he's dead now, but you know, rip. I love that guy.
Asshole's dead.
No, in a good way, a funny way. Yeah, so oh, the Civil War subplot is in this one too. We pick up on that with Jacoby's fucking sitting there studying fucking Ben, who thinks it's the Civil War. He thinks he's Robert E. Lee. And Jerry shows up and he sees Jerry and he's like, General, what does he call him? General Jeb. And he's like, he thinks you're General Jeb, whatever the hell. You have to play along with it. This is actually very healthy what he's doing, because you see, by reversing the North's victory in the Civil War and making it so the South won, he's actually going to be reversing all the negative things that he's done inside himself and some weird shit.
Yeah, there's some subplots in this show that are just fucking.
The Civil War one's great. Don't talk.
That's a fun one.
The Evelyn one's awful, and it literally is just, as Nick quoted earlier from Wayne's World 2, it feels like, you know how Wayne's World 2 is making fun of that like stereotypical murder my husband shit. This is very much that.
It won't, it won't.
He's
a dead man.
Pretty much. Well, I think we're
Frank.
going to wrap this up for this one. So.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe next time watch the episode, Dick.
Maybe I'll think about it.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen it before.
Not.
But
You know how badly I can beat you, right?
that about rounds it out for this one. Oh, except for Six Sad World.
Oh fuck! You got
to say it louder. I wasn't hearing you.
Why is your memory so bad?
Why is my memory so bad?
Maybe he's not angry right now.
Now it's out of reach.
Smoke weed every day.
No, this is Six Sad World, not your angry rant.
Where is the intro for it?
I mean, are all your friends Satanists?
A young Frenchman photographed this flying saucer, or is it? From a...
Do you believe in UFOs, astral projections, mental telepathy, ESP, clairvoyance, spirit photography?
We're discussing Satanism and the occult this morning and some of the dangers.
Telekinetic movement, full trance mediums, the Loch Ness Monster, and the theory of Atlantis.
For the purposes of this study, we will focus on the number 666.
Tonight on Six Ed World.
Tonight on Six Sad World, we're talking some of our YouTube comments, which are fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah,
People segment this for YouTube comments.
People get triggered so easily.
I don't want to rip off fucking have some toy anxiety, but sometimes
That's not where I got the ideas.
I know. I'm just saying. They do a segment called Sad Comments where they read sad comments of the internet. These are specifically right off of our fucking YouTube page.
That's what I meant for this page.
So I'm gonna go with the one that's really fucking bad from today, because one guy was like sort of trying to argue with me that
Is there a couple short dumb ones you could throw in too?
No, there's thanks for reviewing this.
Oh, that was nice.
Love the video, my brother.
Oh, who was that? Name them if they're nice.
Love the video, my brother is from JLS Fire Gaming. Thanks for reviewing this is from Island Media.
Oh, well, thank you. Do you actually watch the podcast though?
I don't know.
If you do, you get a shout out.
Anyway, my video basically, it's a brief, minute and a half video about the new Hasbro Proton pack, all of which I will gladly show you now. It's right here. And this thing's fucking hilarious, right? So listen to this, Charles.
Read it aloud. I read this earlier, but I knew exactly what you wanted to do with it. After I read it, I was like, oh my God.
This guy says, in the video, I basically talked about how the most common complaint this is getting is the back and how it's opened. And people are upset because it's cheap and it doesn't come with a wand. There's a million different things. There's
put your own
to
back
complain
on
about.
it.
He says, this is the problem with Ghostbusters. Everyone seems so eager to accept lame excuses like it's for kids when all the toys suck.
All of them.
So where the OG packs and they felt significant to a kid. That is a sentence, by the way, by itself.
Yeah, don't fix the grammar.
I'm not fixing the grammar. Okay, that was the sentence, which isn't actually a complete sentence because it addresses something and then does not finish.
At least he uses punctuation. We'll give him that.
That thing is less of a pack than the Halloween ones. Who is this for? What kid wants to run around with just the pack on their pack that can't even hold the proper wand they are making?
Holds the other wand.
Sorry, I'm upset someone is trying to sell my kids these cheap toys when all they want is one good proton pack they can buy and run around the house with. As kids, we had the pack and the trap. They were easy to get. You bought the pack and you bought the trap. You bought those two things and you had everything you needed.
I never had the trap, so it must not have been that easy.
PKE meter, wand, pack, and trap. All you'd need them are the goggles. And no, they were as cheap, but they also were as pointless. What? Like, first of all, you can't start a sentence with and. Like, that's fucking second grade shit.
And you're talking shit on the old Ecto goggles and popper that.
Well, it doesn't, I can't tell. It seems like he's trying to defend those things. Now you need to buy this cheap thing, a PKE meter, which does, I think he means to say doesn't, but he says, now you need to buy this cheap thing, a PKE meter, parentheses, which does look movie accurate, then the wand, and I guess we just aren't getting a ghost trap this time. Moron. This is a terrible waste of time for anyone hoping they just make a more movie accurate rendition of the pack we got as kids.
This was made in Amsterdam.
Hollow plastic shell and simple proton wand. This is simply a horrible peg warmer. Only thing The line that looks decent are the PKE meter and he wand, but the wand has no pack. And this is the best we can get again.
So he likes the PKE meter, but he also said it wasn't movie accurate.
Mm-hmm. Well, he said it is movie accurate, but I don't understand how that's a complaint. And it's not movie accurate. So,
yeah.
I mean, it looks very good. Yeah.
Close for kids.
It's about as close as this is. It matches. Yes, the quality.
The colors the most often.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Well, I mean, the ears, if you want to get technical, aren't on the inside of that one. There's stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. It's a kid's toy. We get it.
Hearing this fucking ignorant statement is out of control.
I'm not even done. Hold on. He's still going. Because remember how I opened up the video was saying, there's not much I can say about this proton pack unless you wanted to go on a stupid, annoying rant about how much you hated it, like this fucking guy in the comments. But that's my favorite sentence is, only thing period. The line that looks decent are the PKE meter and he wand, but the wand has no pack.
He wand?
Yes. And this is the best we can get? This thing sucks even for kids, plain and simple. Stop blaming fans for not liking garbage products.
Justin, does your kids like this?
My kids love that.
Oh, it's interesting because I replied to him.
This guy's never even had sex, let alone children. He's not allowed anywhere near children. Probably.
He's not allowed anywhere near women or humans.
Well, yeah, he's probably on the registry list.
I'm surprised he was able to manage to get a computer. The people at that mental hospital that he lives at should be fired.
He like locked the staff out,
anyway,
like banging on the door.
I responded, you should seek a therapist. It is for kids. And guess what? I've seen kids play with them in person and they absolutely love the toys. Of course, it's less than the Spirit Halloween pack. That is $70.
Yeah, that is.
It's $15.
Lights and sounds.
It's $30 for the modded wand or $15 for the regular one. $30 to $45 for a small toy pack isn't bad. And that's about how much you'd pay for an Extreme Ghostbusters pack in the 90s. There is an RTV trap coming out for the release as well. So there is a trap coming. Quote, hollow plastic shells and simple proton wand, end quote. That's from, what he said. And I said, are you talking about the original Kenner pack? Because if they tried to release that and you didn't have nostalgic ties to it, you'd just be as pissed. You'd be just as pissed. The fact that you are this upset about a child's plaything when there are other options if you want a better pack for your kid, buy a Spirit pack, is ludicrous. This is the problem with Ghostbusters. Yeah, okay, sir. Tell us you're an out-of-touch gatekeeper without telling us you're an out-of-touch gatekeeper.
Yeah, it's ignorant. Kids love that thing, right? And the thing I like about it over the original Kenner pack didn't even fucking look remotely like either of the packs from the movie. It's just or the cartoon, right? That's real Ghostbusters. All that shit came out at different times. The pack came out, the goggles came out at a different time, the trap came out at a different time, the Ecto Charger slime blower came out at a different time.
Also, you reviewed the Fright Features figures, and you have a comment. Someone accused you of something in that video.
Lying.
It says the comment says simply, "You lied."
Oh, I know.
I responded, "You lied about what?" Or I responded, lied about what?
This is from Tabby versus Witty. If you're listening, please tell us what Justin
Who
lied
has
about.
2 subscribers and joined 8 years ago. So,
That's
keep up the good work.
That's one every 4 years.
Yeah, I lie. What did I lie about?
Exactly.
Everything.
I don't know, but it's
apparently.
fucking hilarious. You lying sack of shit.
What is the title of that video?
Ghostbusters Afterlife Fright features figures from Hasbro review.
That's all a lie.
All a lie.
It's not a review at all.
I mean, it is, but it's funny. So that about does it tonight.
These features aren't even frightening.
The only thing I'll say is the straps on this proton pack are way better. And this actually looks like a proton pack, even though there's not a bunch of attachments on there. It's all molded in there. Way more detail than the other one ever had.
Yes.
And way more than the other one, too, as far as I know. Because the other one thing was like flimsy, thin plastic. It was like air-filled.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Like
And
the old one is
you could
only
use it as
cool
a
because
pillow.
it was the option and you're nostalgic for it, which
Yeah.
is perfectly valid. I want to get one just for the collection, because it is still cool that that's what was out then. But don't fucking come out and tell me that it's fucking the end all be all cool toy because it's a little fucking simple.
I will not get drawn into another financial debate, Dennis. I'm really sorry about your problems. I really am, but they are your problems. Like, if you can't afford to buy toys, take that up with your employer. Or here's an idea: educate yourself so you can fucking afford toys.
Thanks, Dad.
Had to add that in because it actually is from that scene.
If I met that person's mother, I'd want to fucking punch her in the fucking throat and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Be like, you are the fucking reason why people want to regulate women's bodies, because you have fucking trash offspring. That's
As Dan Aykroyd once said on
No,
Saturday
no,
Night
no.
Live,
No,
if I could go back in time
this would encourage people to
what?
be pro-abortion.
to meet your mother, I would abort you.
Yeah, this is a pro-abortion argument for this guy.
Yes, we should abort him in the past.
Yeah.
And prevent this comment from ever happening.
Yes, his mother should have used birth control. But
I mean,
Or just her mouth.
I'm halfway tempted to go back in time.